Welcome back to the Kymron XTL30, everybody. One of the things that I see on all of the new machines that are rolling out of China, whether it's the Direct XC1100 or all of the VMang machines rolling out, you see the front quick connect block that now has a decompression valve on it. And it looks something like this. So it has this little valve on it that you pull when you're trying to make your connections, and that connects a chamber here and decompresses your fittings so you can make an easier attachment. That is just amazing. It's super awesome. But here's the thing, it's not new. And more importantly, it's not something that they invented and brought to America. These are products that have been made in Italy and the United States for some time, but they're the first ones to put them on mini skid steers. So if we're giving brownie points for ingenuity, congratulations VMang and Direct. VMang was doing it first and Direct added it to the XC1100. Well, the Kymron XTL30 doesn't have that. It has the standard, believe it's Fasher, might be the brand name of it, just 3-port block. This is found on every skid steer, whether it's Bobcat, Kubota, you name it, this is the industry standard. And so the benefit of this is it's the industry standard, except it adds the decompression. So I had been trying to find this particular valve for some time without success. I was in my local hydraulic shop when we were getting some hoses adapted for the Grapple Replumb project, video in the corner. And the benefit was I saw this sales diagram laying out, and here was the valve block that I'd been looking for. Took a picture of the name, started doing research online, and eventually found a couple of retailers that had this listed as an available SKU in their repertoire. So there are two different ones. The VMang uses a decompression block made by Stucci, S-C-U-Z-Z-I, or Suzy, link in the bottom. But that particular block is made in Italy. This block is made by Holmbury, H-O-L-M-B-U-R-Y. And this is the block, it appears, that Direct chose to put on the XC1100. This block, you pull the pin and it releases both pressure ports at the same time and routes them back to tank. Well, I've already tried, and I can tell you that this did not fit out of the box on the Kymron XTL30. I needed a couple of things. First, I had to adapt from the factory side. No fittings come with this, so you have to buy the fitting separate. And I had to adapt. This is SAE ORB fittings. After adapting it, then I had to convert it to metric. So we had to go from the SAE ORB and then an SAE to ORB to DIN L, DIN light fittings. And these are 15 millimeter tubes or 22 millimeter thread size. So we finally got all of our fittings in to make this work. Now we're going to work on the machine and see if we can swap it on and do that without having to have any of the hard lines remade. So fingers crossed, this is going to work for us. Come along and let me show you the process of swapping out the factory valve block, which is industry standard, to another industry standard valve block that gives us the decompression option. Let's see if it works. I want to say that for the safety blocks that we made, video in the corner, all the slacks out, these are working perfect. It's nice and tight and makes a very safe working environment for me. Okay, so this is a 15 millimeter tube and a 22 millimeter thread. We have to break these three off and loosen them. And then there are 2 Allen head cap screws here that we'll have to take out. I've already confirmed visually that it fits perfect. But we're gonna have to do some adjusting all around to get this to work. So let's get started. We're gonna break these 3 loose and try and move these hoses out of the way. And with that done, then we can loosen these and remove the existing block. Everything here is big. So for those of us that have bought these machines but are not into this all day long and we're not mechanics, you may not have the right tools to help you. So be prepared to buy tools to help you work on your machine and work with these particular nuts and everything else, because they are large and they far exceed the normal wrench sets that you would buy at any regular parts store, right? I think they may go up to maybe 3/4 of an inch. You're well over 1 inch with many of these, and in the metrics world, you're well over the standard 10, 12, 13 millimeters. So this is really big stuff. Just be prepared. That off. This is our last one here. I use this Mondo crescent wrench to hold the adapter, because these are adapted as well. They don't just come from the factory with a 22 millimeter thread on for metric din. All right, so those are loose now. There is a hose, a tube clamp here. So we're gonna loosen that tube clamp up. All right, so that is our tube clamp there. That will allow these to move around. I've previously marked them. I have marked them where they were at so that I know if they moved forward or backwards. You can see the bend here doesn't give me much room. So we'll see if that's gonna work or not. Fingers crossed. Still oil. Even after I opened it up, still pouring down oil. Tried to not make a mess, but I didn't do a good job, obviously. Yep, that one too. I'm so glad that I tried to drain the valves. Did no good draining the valves. Okay, so those are all out now. Okay, so now let me get the proper Allen head for that. 8 millimeter. Okay. Of course, these bolts aren't long enough for the new block. So, how do I find out what size bolts I need? Let's get our thread checker. It is an M10 1.5. Yep. Okay. So, trusty thread checker. Kid, I just posted a video on this, video in the corner. You need one of these. So I have got to now go and find an M10 1.5 that's going to go through there. So I have to first figure out how long are these, and then how long I need them to be. So, okay, well, so the factory bolt is too short. This new valve is 70 millimeters thick, and then it still has to have enough threads to screw through. So the old bolt is just too small. So we have some new 80 millimeter bolts to go in. The local hardware store had those, so I'm very, very happy about that. So now I'm gonna see if I can't get this to start going in. It's gonna be a little bit of a struggle, right? It'd be nice to have some hands and some helpers, but I don't have those. So we're gonna see if we can't get it up there and get it into position. Okay, so we have it generally where it's going to go. I did add a fender washer and a lock washer to this to help tighten it down, keep it secure. Okay, so that's in place. Let's find all of our parts. And the great thing is that you can kind of move these around and shift them. This is our flow, reverse flow. Can you see that? And then this is our primary flow here. So those are just on loose, so we can still adjust the lines. They definitely fit different, but let's see how it's going to fit down at the bottom. So far, it is working okay for us. Put these around and on. Working good. So I'm happy to say that this one right here pushed back the most, but it's a relatively straight hard line, so there's no issue there. The only time it's going to have any bend in it is whenever it's in this top position. The other two, this was the one I was worried about. This one is right where it needs to be. So blessings, and this one is a little bit ahead of where it was before. So we are looking good. We need to go ahead and tighten these up, and I'm going to tighten up the hardline holder after we get these cinched down. So for that, we're going to use a crescent wrench here. That O-ring is on the male part of a Denel fitting. And so it is right now seating itself into the female. and creating the seal to eliminate leaks. That's tight. Do the same thing. This is our return to tank. I'm very happy that my local hardware store had those 80mm length bolts in. Amazon had some for tomorrow delivery, but who wants to wait for tomorrow? I've been waiting long enough. Well, I think we got it about as tight as we can. The block is mounted up. All the hard lines worked. So that is wonderful news. We'll fire it up and do a pressure check and see how it works. Well, I'm not too concerned about firing it up. I'm not too concerned about lowering the boom. The big question is going to be, let's say, hooking up the grapple or anything that requires hydraulics, because typically you have a little pressure in your line. So the whole goal of this project was to be able to have pressure in the line, not have to turn off the machine, be able to decompress the line and switch attachments with ease without having to do anything here at the operator station. So let's see if it works. Okay, usually after running the machine for a little bit, this builds up pressure, especially in the forward port. So the male port is where all the fluid comes whenever you're driving your attachment, whether it's your tiller or whatever else. This is your primary pressure port, especially whenever you engage to the on position. This is the return back. So usually this builds up some pressure. So we're gonna see if we can hook up to our grapple and if it has pressure or not. Okay, moment of truth. If this is able to plug in or if I have to relieve pressure on it. Well, I'm able to plug it in. Get it all cleaned off. It's a little dirty. That is on. We'll run it a couple of times and then see what happens next. We've got pressure in it now. Now I'm done using it and I want to relieve pressure, so I'm going to pull this pin and see what happens. Okay, pin pulls. All's good. That came off. That came off. So the pin, you can pull it all the way out and you have to push it all the way back in. So I don't know. I'm gonna try and put this back on now and see if there's pressure in it or not. I'm able to put it on, nice. That's not the normal experience for me. Typically, especially after I've used it and the machine's running, that doesn't happen. So somehow that valve is working right. I'm gonna have to read up on exactly how it works, but I am happy to report this is successful and I don't see any leaks. So this is absolutely wonderful. Okay, so this is a medium complexity project. Let me tell you a couple of things you're gonna have to worry about. First, you got to get the valve. I can give you a link to that. That's easy to source. It's going to take it about 2 weeks to get in because, like everything, it seems, these aren't usually stocked and they're drop shipped from the manufacturer. Number one. Number two, you need to know your pipe size and fitting size for all the connections here. Because you're going to have to adapt from American SAE ORBs to DIN L fittings. So You have about $250 in the block itself, and then you have another about $120 in the 6 fittings, because there's one primary fitting to go into each one of the main ports, and then an adapter to adapt it to the DIN L. So all in, you're going to be about $350 in this project. How can this get more expensive? Well, fortunately for me, all the hard lines made it up and were able to stay factory. So I didn't have to get new hard lines made. Had I needed new hard lines, even one, I'm probably adding about another $100 to this project. So it gets expensive fast. Now, the Kymron had a block already mounted, and there is a company that designed this block, and there's an industry standard for these 2 bolts right here. The position, the distance apart, the orientation. But if you have a mini skid that has some type of custom face on it, then you're going to have more expense in welding on something to screw into, and then drilling those holes, tapping those holes for whatever size bolt you want. This happened to be a 10mm bolt, 10mm 1.5 thread pitch, and I'm very fortunate my local hardware store had 80mm in length, because this block is thicker than the factory blocks installed on mini excavators and mini skid steers. Now, this is now standard feature on a VMang machine, as well as the new Durette XC1100. So as a kind of focus, the industry is moving to this technology, which is really great. But if you're like me and you have a machine that's just a year old, to get this functionality, I had to do it myself. I hope this video was helpful. I hope that this gave you some insight in kind of what it would take to convert your machine over. Some of the good, some of the bad, some of the easy, some of the hard. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. Leave me a comment. I'd love to know, do you think this is worthwhile? Do you think it was a waste of money? Would you do this to your machine? And then also, you know, just kind of give me your feedback. What do you think we should do next? Well, I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.